Do you know the level, type, or nature of the clearances and security training required for individuals to access the information held in the computers of Treasury, IRS, or CFPB?
Yes, I do, and I think we would have a disagreement over the definition of the word unfettered.
Mr. Secretary, did all the individuals working with Doge who were given access to Treasury's and CFPB's computer databases receive all of the required clearances and security training before they were granted access?
Again, they were granted read-only access at Treasury. There were two.
So let me just say,
Doge employees.
please, you can't filibuster here. This is not the filibuster playground. And so what you did was you let these strangers into our Treasury with access to all of the data, all of the personnel information, and you just opened the door. Why'd you do that?
No, ma'am. They were Treasury employees.
Oh, are you saying today in front of this committee that all of them were Treasury employees, that the 25-year-old who's being identified, who worked for Elon Musk, was allowed into the Treasury? Was that person there?
He was a Treasury employee, as was Tom Krause, the senior person on the Doge team. There were only two people.
There were Doge employees also.
Sorry?
Do you know, were you aware that there were Doge employees coming into our Treasury getting all of our personal information?
Well, ma'am, there is no such thing as a Doge employee. There were Treasury employees.
I tend to disagree with you based on the information I have.
Another day, another time that Democrats are making themselves look out of touch, maybe dumb, I don't know. All this political theater, I'm kind of tired of it. You saw Maxine Waters trying to ask Scott Bessent some questions about access that the Doge people have. And from my recollection, those people, before Doge was created, before Donald Trump even came into office, these people were originally just Treasury secretaries. And Doge is more like a membership, just like the Black Caucus, the Black Caucus that don't let Republicans in just because they're Republicans. It's like a fraction within the government. And these people were pushing an initiative trying to help Doge cut spending. And the way that she tries to frame it as some type of, these people don't have proper clearance and all this stuff. And Scott Bessent is trying to answer a question. It's like, there were Treasury secretaries that we brung in as part of Doge. She didn't want to hear the answer because she wanted, don't try to filibuster here. Filibuster, he was trying to explain. And you cut him off because you wanted to do some type of a political theater. And this is the problem I have with Democrats, right? That they're all for show. Actions, not words, right? That's what matters more. And through their actions, Democrats have shown that they don't care about efficient government. They benefit off of waste, fraud, and abuse. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, we want to bring manufacturing back to this country. I think regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, we should be realistic and want to encourage people to develop and manufacture in this country. And that's some of the ways that Scott Bessent and Donald Trump believe that tariffs could help the American people. It's about optimization, right? But Democrats don't seem to get it. So before I go into a fuller clip and reacting to this hearing that Congress is having with Scott Bessent, I want to show a clip of Democrats, of a Democrat, Gregory Meeks, essentially, asking a bunch of questions that to me don't even lead anywhere. But, this is what the show that, politicians, they get up for.
4 decades, we've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency because it hasn't been for 4 decades. It says to me that we should bring tariffs back to the United States Congress so that we can make that determination as the Constitution has said and not try to go around Congress. That's just unbelievable to me. Let me ask this question. Maybe I'm missed it. Who was the president, and who has been the president since January 20th, 2025?
Donald J. Trump.
Okay. And Who was the president in 2024?
One believes President Biden.
One believes? You one of those non-believers that the election, the American people didn't vote?
I am not.
You're not? You said one believes? Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States and it should be abided by?
I believe in the Constitution of the United States.
So you believe in it without any second thought. You don't have to think about it. You believe in it and you would abide by it. Is that correct?
I have and I do, sir.
Okay. Well, do you know that a president has said he may or may not? He don't know? Let me ask this question. I couldn't believe my...
So you got a sneak peek of what Scott Bessent is going to deal with and what our ears are going to deal with. But I think it's important to see what kind of questions are Democrats asking. Are they asking stuff that, hey, do you think, like, to me, how would I use a hearing? I would use a hearing as a way of trying to see Scott Bessent's mindset when it comes in regards to some of the things that I, as a Democrat, may have a concern about, right? If I, as a Democrat, had a concern about inflation, I'll ask, hey, do you think there's a better approach than what you're doing now into doing this inflation thing? He says no. Oh, elaborate on that. Why not? Right? Or if you have an alternative belief of how the economy should run, advocate for it in front of him and ask him, okay, what concerns do you have about Democrats' prescription to reducing inflation, bringing manufacturing back without causing inflation? What you think would be the best path? Obviously, he's going to think what they're doing. But to me, it's like, where is it going? Like, what is the purpose of these hearings? If the purpose of these hearings are just to make a political show, I think you're wasting everybody in America's time with them. That's my thoughts. My thoughts is, this has been a philosophy of my channel, that I want solution-based politics, right? Politics with an outcome. Hey, what are the outcomes of your policy? It's not enough for the intentions, because like they said, like the good book said, not the good book, but like what many wise people said, the road to hell was paved with good intentions. And it seems like Democrats lead a lot with good intentions, but their policies lead to hell. Oh, we want to pay teachers more. Sounds like good intentions, but what the incentive structure you're putting, how are you going about it? How's your approach going about it? Oh, you don't reward teachers who do good. You just want to blatantly pay every teacher, but not every teacher is good. You want to reward mediocrity. You want to protect the least qualified teachers from getting fired. And if they happen to have seniority, it's harder to fire them. We should be basing them on their outcomes. Hey, look, your kids are learning good. Your kids are having good academic outcomes. We should pay you accordingly. Merit-based pay, but you reject merit-based pay. Why? Because you know it will cause some friction within your unions, and you can't have that. And that's one of the reasons why I don't personally support unions. I'll never probably join a union. I'll be like, nah, y'all could, whatever. I'm gonna be just by myself over here, because you're letting other people dictate the terms and conditions of your life. But I digress. Enough of my rambling here.
Mr. Chairman, I want to raise a point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
But I don't want the clock to be eating my time.
I'm sorry. Yes,
I would like for the witness to be swearing in before I ask my questions.
the chair doesn't see a need for that. You may ask your question. Your time can start the gentlewoman's time over at 5 minutes.
Secretary Bessent, you were on CNBC earlier this week making claims saying we are very close and maybe we will see some deals this week on tariffs. So tell us.
This video was done, like, I think a couple of days before Trump announced his first trade deal.
Tell the American people, tell small businesses and consumers, tell retirees, specifically, which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States.
No. I'm asking you a question based on the statement that you made on CNBC.
And I am telling you that it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why would that be detrimental?
Did you just get fed questions? Why? Why would that be detrimental? Because you letting it's the same reason why you don't publicly announce who you're gonna go to war with, the inner workings of Iran, the inner workings of the peace deal. There's a reason why these people keep the details close to the chest, because they don't want outside influences weighing in on it. And also, they don't want to tip off other people who could use that as an opportunity to do something dangerous to the American people. That's why you don't have it publicly out there, right? The same people crying about Doge and saying, oh, look, they're having normal, regular citizens having access to American sensitive data. But they're the same people demanding that, hey, give us your whole playbook and openly tell the whole world what you're trying to do. Because end of the day, it goes back to trust. The Democrats don't trust Donald Trump. The Democrats don't trust the American people. The American people gave Donald Trump the popular vote and the electoral college. First time in 20 years. And they still don't trust the decisions of the American people. This is why they ask a question like that.
Because as the negotiations may still be in process as we speak, as we are not at the end of the week yet, I am sure that you, through your question, would not want to compromise U.S. negotiations.
Reclaiming my time.
Would you?
Secretary Bessent, the president goes into a press conference and claims that there are negotiations going on. And then the next day, there's no negotiations going on.
As far as you can tell, like I remember, who was it? John Kennedy, I think, was talking with the Cuban president, saying, "Hey, we shouldn't be going into missiles. We shouldn't go into war. I don't think it's necessary. Don't do it. Don't do it." On the phone. Do you think you're privy to every detail before and in real time about that? No, you're not. And these people, that's what I'm talking about. It's all about trust. They don't trust Donald Trump at all. They don't trust the decisions the American people make because, in my estimation, Democrats believe they know what's best for you. They always operate in that mode. Like, if you ever met a Democrat politician or Democrat voters in general, they tend to come across as condescending, because the reason why many of them come across condescending is they think they know what's best for you. Oh, you're a black man, you voting Republican? You voted really? Really? You voted Republican? That's how Democrats will come to me when they find out I voted for Donald Trump. And I'm going like, well, why wouldn't I? Can't give me an answer because you don't know what I value. You don't know what I prioritize. You just see my skin color and you assume you know what I want. You assume you know what I need. And this is what I'm talking about with the Democratic Party.
Would you not answer my question? And that will be considered detrimental to the American people, to the American economy. I do not understand. Despite your claim...
I'm happy to say there are negotiations going on. I'm not going to reveal the details.
No filibuster. No filibuster here.
So how long...
That's not a filibuster question. That's just truth. Hey, we're in the middle of a military operation. ICE is planning an operation in Chicago. Oh, that's enough details for Chicago to do something to be preemptive to prevent the operation because you publicly stated what you was going to do. Oh, we're going to do a sting operation in San Francisco. San Francisco and all their mayors. Oh, look, they're planning a sting operations. Be on the lookout. You don't want to telegraph what you're going to do because then you give people an advantage over you. You weaken your negotiating power, your maneuver, your ability to negotiate simple common sense stuff. But this is what I'm talking about. Democrats are American last. They can't put their own interests behind the American people's interest. Democrats' interest is different from the American people's interest. The American people's interest want the best trade deal for America. Democrats just want what's best for them. And knowing the details of these trade deals, they can run on some messaging talking about how bad it is. Because at the end of the day, Democrats in this current political landscape are seen as the eternal critic, but do nothing.
How long do you think those negotiations will take before they are concluded?
There are numerous countries, as I have said, if you saw my CNBC interview, which you referenced, that there are 18 important trading partners, and we are moving forward at all deliberate speed with those.
Do you consider these negotiations advanced negotiations?
Some of them are quite advanced.
So you expect this deal to be more than memorandums of understanding? You expect them to be full negotiated trade deals?
I believe that they will be agreements in principle, and then we will paper them over in the coming months. But once we reach an agreement, then I am sure that the other countries will live up to it.
Okay. In congressional testimony yesterday, you said the U.S. has not started negotiating with China on tariff reductions. Does that continue to be your position, yes or no?
As you may have read,
Yes or no, sir?
As you may have read in the press, I will be going to Switzerland, and the negotiations will begin on Saturday.
Okay, so the president told you that that will be your answer today.
The
Answer, or he's telling you what he's going to do. This is the problem. This is why I don't like these hearings. Theater. This is all just theater. Like what benefit is that to sit here and man's trying to give you an answer and you don't want to accept it? Oh, that's what Donald Trump told you to say. Huh? So then when he really does go to Switzerland to go meet and have negotiations, you're gonna be the one that looking dumb. I swear sometimes, bro. I swear, bro. Democrats only gonna learn when they have no power, when they're in timeout. Because this is what happens when you give them power. Like, for what? No vision, no future. That's the Democratic Party right now. All they got is criticism. They don't got no alternatives. They got no solutions. They're not even asking real questions, really. What is questions leading to? Oh, we're trying to paint Scott Bessent as a Trump loyalist that's just doing Trump's bidding. He's not actually doing anything real with the economy. Is that the framing you're going for, Miss Nadia? Let's continue.
So can you tell who from the Trump administration is engaged in those discussions
which discussions?
with China?
Trade discussions?
Pardon?
I'm sorry.
Trade discussions, yes, sir.
Well, the trade negotiations will be led by myself and Ambassador Jameson Greer,
And,
USTR.
and what about Pete Navarro?
Sorry?
Peter Navarro.
He will
Is
not.
he-
He will not be joining us in Geneva.
Thank God for that. Are those negotiations considered advanced?
Pardon?
Are those negotiations considered advanced?
As I said, on Saturday we will begin, which I believe is the opposite of advance.
Not paying attention, right? That's what I'm talking about. Looking to create a narrative.
Secretary Bessent, as Treasury Secretary and a senior member of President Trump's economic team, has President Trump given you the authority to finalize any trade agreement with China or any other trading partner?
As President Trump has stated, he will have the final decision on any trade agreement.
So you're telling me
Not
all
even paying attention.
of these increased prices, the stock market losses, the production delays are all based on the wins of Donald Trump, that you
Donald
could
Trump.
strike the best deal with Canada, Mexico, or even China, that is completely in our favor, giving us everything the administration
Gentlewoman's
is
time has
seeking.
expired.
And if President Trump decides at any certain
Gentlewoman's
moment,
time has
for whatever reason, not to take the deal, that will be it. I yield back.
The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Lucas, who is chair of our task force on monetary policy, is recognized for 5.
Craziness. Just theater, man. There's no benefit to these things anymore. Before, it used to be about, you trying to get a better understanding of what the vision is, the philosophy behind policy decisions made by the current administration. Now it's just a position where people use to get their name more recognized, try to make a show out of what they're doing. She didn't even have questions of, like, it almost seemed like she had no original thought. It seemed like the guy behind her knew more about what was going on than she did. And she was trying to use this as a way of highlighting herself. And that's why I said there's too much ego in politics. Politics needs to be about solutions. Okay, you're saying there's trade deals going. What information can you give about those trade deals? That would have been a better answer if you wanted more information that could be publicly allowed to be spoken to without going too much into details. All right. She asked, what's advanced conversations? I understand all that. But I don't know. The intent there, it didn't feel like someone who had genuine concern, right? She highlighted like stuff like as if she was getting a campaign video ready. Oh, higher prices, all this stuff, a stock market going down, even though we already recovered from the point of April 2nd when Trump announced Liberation Day. We already recovered all our losses from then, but still pushing this narrative, right? And then, at the time of me making this video, Trump already announced one trade deal was already finished. So I don't understand the purpose of all this. I don't know. Maybe the American people wanted to hear Scott Bessent get lectured by Democrats that don't understand the economy that well. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments section below. I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts about Scott Bessent, how he handled himself in this interview, some of the questions they were asking. Do you find any benefit in these hearings anymore? I want to be interested in hear what people have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.